as you come to the Palava hut, we want to identify who will serve, who will help us tonight to be our interpreters. Mrs. Kerr, you will be interpreting for us in Punjabi. We have another person who is from Punjabi and who can benefit from interpretation, right?
Yes.
And then
speaks two languages, Punjabi and Hindi.
For Punjabi and Hindi.
Yes.
And then we have Brenda, who will serve as an interpreter for anyone who speaks Spanish from the Latinx community and may need help with that. And then we have our volunteer, full disclosure, he is one of our ESL students. And he's learning English. But he's willing to help his classmates understand as much as he's able in understanding us, to help them understand what we'll be talking about. So it's going to be difficult because we're going to have interpretation going around us, right? So if you hear that, we ask you to understand and let us also put the people together. So as much as you are able, he's a volunteer, he's a student, and he said yes. You can just tell them what you understand. Okay. So, all clear. So we have a whole, right. So it's going to be a little bit challenging navigating it, but we're going to try. Welcome, Miss Laura. As we are speaking in English, our interpreters, community interpreters, will be helping their colleagues, their friends, their neighbors understand what we are saying. So at Multicultural, when we ask you to come to the Palava hut, it is to talk about things in the community that are important to people living in the community. So this is a community-based organization, and we help the immigrants in our community to be able to express themselves, to talk about what's on their mind and what's in their hearts. Right? And you can explain it to others as you see it, as you hear it, okay? So, we want to again say, on behalf of Multicultural, Ms. Donna Smith, who is one of our program coordinators here for the professional development consulting. She and I will be helping and supporting the conversation today. In this house right now, there are some important people. There are important people here. First and foremost, one of the most important people here are our elders. In our country, we say the old people. But when we say old people, we mean it in the most serious way. So to all of our old people, our elders, we say thank you. Because you have wisdom that we are still learning to get. This page here will tell you a little bit about the Palava hut. That's the green side. Because in many parts of Africa, when people have problems, they come together to talk about it like this. And when they are talking about it, they go under the hut and they come around in circle like this. And they are all facing each other. because they want to see each other when they are talking and hear what people are saying. They want to understand it. And whether it is in the village or in the city, we have our elders usually that would be the person to listen. So today in our Palava hut, Miss Donna and myself, we will be your elders today. If you see the picture here, you will see what an example of what a Palava hut would look like if it was in Africa or Liberia. And you see it very round and beautiful. So today we are here to talk about mental health. That's two big words. What does it mean? That's what we're trying to find out, right? So we said there are some big people here today. Our elders first. Then sitting here, we have some other big people too. Because many immigrants where we come from, you can't just have the president come and sit down with you. If the president is coming, you see motorcade, the police all over. You cannot have those big people. But here in America, even the big people, they know how important it is to listen to us in the community. So we want to say thank you to Dr. Monica Taylor. She the president of the big government organization here in Delaware County. She's the president of the Dakota County Council. So it's important for her to be here so she can hear you. When we come to the Palava hut, we come to talk and listen to each other, and hopefully to come to an agreement about what the problem is so we can solve it together. Right? That's the whole idea. So we are hoping that when she hears us, she will take it back to all the other big people there to say that the thing I heard today, we need to help the immigrants because they have this problem. Or we need to help the people there who are not immigrants, but in the community, they have this problem. But we also have for us today another big organization. They are supposed to come on. I hope it comes on soon. They call them the Delaware County Department of Human Services. That's another big one. They make some good decisions to help families, to help children. So they are in the room today. Miss Laura and Miss Christina, please stand up. They want to listen to you too. Thank you. You not see Dr. Taylor, she's the big one over everybody in the room. Yeah. Right. Then we have, for us to do this work, there are organizations that can help to make it happen. They give them some kind of big name, they call them philanthropy. They can help people. They are also here. Michigan Warren is from one of them. She is from the foundation of Delaware County. They do a lot of good work in the community. Then we also have here, we said we're talking about mental health. You said, what do you think that is? Myself, we got to find out together. We got some people here who are working in mental health. That big name will find out. They're here to listen to us to see what the issue, what is it we're talking about, hopefully so they can learn more and be able to help us better. So we have Holcomb Behavioral Health is here, Lauren Flynn. But he sent somebody to represent him. And Senator Tim Kearney. He's not here today, but Justin is representing him. And we want to recognize important people in the African community. Pastor Moses Sua. It is Reverend Doctor, maybe Doctor, I don't even know if I recognize him. And he also has an organization called All for All Agency. And we want to recognize one of Liberia's premier medical doctor and researcher, Dr. Abu Masale. Thank you, Dr. Masale. Okay, so as you have come, to all of you, we say thank you. We didn't think anybody was going to come today. Because for many immigrants, when reading, the only time they leave the house is to go to work. Because they know they will get fired if they don't go to work. After that, they will stay home. So, as we come now to have to talk, we come to talk. We hope we all can talk together today. Don't feel that I don't know the English too good, so I'm embarrassed, I'm scared, I'm ashamed. Don't be. We want you to talk what's on your heart. You tell your friend, he will tell us. Okay? All right. So, part of coming and doing our introduction is to say to you that if we were in the village again having this conversation, you've come to our house. If we were in Liberia, in the village or in the town, we will welcome you with singing and dancing. We'll give you white chicken. We'll either give you coconut nuts or we'll give you coins, a dollar coin or a dime. If you are back there, can you come? Let's fill this spot right here. How much you want to come? We'll come over here? Yeah. So if you were home, we'll offer you with coconut nuts. We'll offer you with coins, but we are not home. So we are doing something different. Okay. So today we have our gift to you is not the chicken, the white chicken, and it's not the coconut nuts, it's our coins. So if you look at the back of your green sheet, it will tell you the meaning of what the coins represent. Today we welcome you with coins. Some of you have gone through this before, like Dr. Taylor. She's always here. We say thank you for coming again. The coins for us are very important. If you look at the quarter, Miss Donna is going to start taking the coins around. The quarter represents relationships, curiosity, and reflection. The dime represents liberty, peace, and strength. The nickel, spontaneity, unity, and adventure. The penny, oneness, fresh start, and belonging. We want you to look at this for a minute. And then as the coin goes around, we want you to choose a coin that speaks to your heart. You look at what the coins mean and say, which one really speaking to me? Which one really says, this is me? It's meaningful to me. And then what we want you to do is to tell us why you chose that coin. So we're going to give a few minutes and then we'll come back to you.
trade it out. They want to trade it out.
Yeah, Mr. George. Yeah. So you look to see why you chose the coin. If you chose a quarter, or you took a dime, or a penny, what made you to choose it? What made this coin important to you? That's what we want you to tell us. So we are going to take a few people who can tell us why they chose the coin. And we are going to ask you, we'll just say who wants to go first?
Did everyone get a coin?
Our crew back there will need that coin too. I'm struggling with my microphone. Who wants to go first? Who would like? Yes, Dr. Taylor.
Okay. I chose the quarter because the quarter to me represents relationships, and I'm here to continue to build our relationship as a county government with our immigrant population, and to understand how we can better serve our population, and just to be here to listen and to get input from all of you. So that's why I picked the quarter.
Thank you for sharing that. The quarter represents relationship. Who would like to go next? Why did you choose? Yes, Ms. Shaka.
I also chose the quarter because I'm here to build authentic relationships with people, whether it's the immigrant community or just Delaware County residents in general. So that's why.
Thank you very much. Yes,
I chose the penny specifically for belonging, because I've been working here with our population in Delaware County for about 14 years now, and that's one thing that everyone has in common, no matter where they're from or what what their purpose is being here. A lot of people come here to Delaware County for a fresh start, and I want to be a part of creating that fresh start, and to make sure that everyone knows that they can belong here.
thank you. Mr. George, you have your hand up?
Yeah. Oh my God. I do water. The reason is, when you live in a community, everybody there, they are 100%. But the quarter, it is part of it. Now it looks like the perimeter of the whole earth. We have east, we have west. We have north, we have south. And when these four colors come together, it becomes one. That was the little thing I want to say here is the word Palava house there. I think quarter, but I want to make it very clear. It's a Ladino word, it means confusion. Palava, you and myself, we have confusion. But then in a community, we better attend. And where there's a confusion, you call somebody and say, look, we just can't understand. Why is it that going on in the community? Because there are some people who say, look, it is not my business. And you cannot live in a community like that.
Thank you, Mr. George. So you called the people to talk about it and to settle it. Yes, thank you. And you said it right. Palava hut. Palava means confusion. You have Palava, you come under the Palava hut to settle it. That's another way to talk about it. That's why you bring issues to the Palava hut. It's a meeting place. Thank you. Anybody else would like to share why they chose the coin? Anyone else? Why did you choose your coin, your dime, your quarter, your penny? Anybody?
I'd like to share.
Yes, Dr. Abu.
Good evening. So I chose a penny To signify oneness and truly speak, if we just go back a little bit to COVID, whether you were rich, whether you were in high position, whether you were of a different race, COVID kind of showed us that we were all one people. We were all afflicted by the same challenge. We all had the same fear. And we all started recognizing the oneness of our human existence. So I think that's very significant. And the other thing I just want to drive in, especially on the theme of mental health, I saw in the flyer, maybe I'm going too fast, but I will just say
That's
that.
okay.
I saw in the flyer a big, huge word, and that's stigma. Stigma, especially when it comes to the immigrant community. We have so many divergent understanding of mental health in the immigrant community, which are not necessarily business, but sometimes very hard to find foundation in the real deal of the matter. As a result, most of us from the immigrant community find it very difficult to access mental health services because of the stigma that has changed us. So hopefully when we leave from this gathering, in unison, in oneness, we can make a commitment to accessing mental health services as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you very much, very much. One more. Anyone else who would like to share what the Joseph point? All right.
All right, all the coins are very important to me. You're going to represent something very special. I took the nickel, not because it's more important than all the others one, but they are all good. I came from the chiefdom of Bakuru County, with Limon specifically. Who knew that a child from the village would be in America today?
A child from the village.
Yes. So I traveled all the way from there. Look at the history. Habert High School, Monrovia High School, then from there in the United States. So it's a good adventure right there. By you traveling, you get to experience different life. You have different people. You get to know them. Unity, it brings people together, to togetherness. You know, so that's one of the more important things. I will start right there.
Thank you very much.
Mrs. Paul wants to say something.
Okay, yes?
She already told me.
All right.
She said, I picked Penny because I believe in oneness. We all are human beings, and as immigrants, we all have same problems. So that's why she picked that.
Well, thank you very much. Ms. Donna, would you like to, Mr. Hussein? Yes.
I choose Quora because I believe that it is very good or very important to have relation between people. It doesn't matter from Africa, from Asia, from Europe, from America. And you have to have good relation with your neighbors, with your co-workers. That makes the community very safety and very peaceful, okay, and very important, you know. And we're looking for the community here like the embassy of immigrants. Really, because anybody coming from Africa or from different countries, he or she believes that America is the country of opportunity, the country of opportunity. So the community try to help people to reach the goal. That is good, you know. We are lucky we have community here to take care about people. That is very important, you know what I mean? Because the God, we believe that the God give you 5 fingers to work together. You know what I mean? Instead of giving you 1 finger, it's not okay, it cannot work. But 5 fingers can work together like that. It doesn't matter you are from white or black or from Asia or from South Latin America. All we are brother and sister under one God. I believe that.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hussein. Thank you. Ms. Donna, would you like to share?
I sure will. Thank you very much. I chose the quarter because I believe in relationships. We can't function as one. I need Mrs. Kamara to help me grow. I need the community to help me grow. I learn, I'm curious, and I learn from others. And that's how I grow. After COVID, it really made me reflect on how much we needed each other. Because being at home, having to stay at home isolated, you really felt isolated. You know, and shut in and shut away from that conversation. We had cell phones, we were able to talk, but it's nothing like this human contact, face to face. So, that's why I chose the water.
Thank you very much, Ms. Diamond. I chose the penny because for me, it has such a special meaning. Coming to America for many people all over the world, coming to America gives us a fresh start. We can start over no matter how bad it was. Whether we came from war, whether we came from famine, whether we were persecuted in our country because of our political beliefs, our religious belief, we come here with an opportunity to have a fresh start. And with that, we come and we struggle to find a sense of belonging. And so we all try to work towards finding that that sense of belonging where we feel safe. And that's what the penny represents to me, particularly as an immigrant. So we said thank you to all of you for choosing your quarter, and if you want to share down the road, you can, but for choosing your coin. We were at a Palava hut, we did a Palava hut in Boston last week. And someone said, I chose the quarter because it can go very far. And it was funny. See, but the thing is, when you relationships, it can go very far, right? But she was thinking in terms of economic, it can go very far. So, what you chose is our gift to you. We say thank you for coming to the Palava hut. Thank you for coming to. Thank you for joining us under. This is our gift to you. And we thank you for accepting that gift. And we hope that with the gift, as we give it to you, we say to you, you are no longer a stranger here. We are all one family under the Palava hut. That this place that we are all gathered and looking at each other face to face is a safe place for us to talk about the Palava, the confusion, the thing that make it sometimes hard for us, mental health. So we hope that you will feel safe here, that you will not be afraid to talk, you will not be embarrassed to talk, you will not be ashamed, because under the Palava hut, we do not judge anybody. Well, instead of judging, we listen to see how we can help each other. Let the conversation begin. We'd like to start off with some questions that we ask. And we want everybody don't be embarrassed. We want you to talk to us so we can all hear you. People here who want to listen and hear you, so they can go back and see what they can do to support the community, not just the immigrant community, because You may think that it's just us, but there are many other people, Americans born here in this country who grew up, they're having the same kind of palava, the same kind of challenge, problem. And we all need people to listen to us and hear us and support us, okay? All right. So Ms. Donna is going to lead us with our first question. We'd like to ask the question, then we'll hear from you. Then we will ask some more questions too. All right.
Okay, now you've heard us mention mental health. So, this is your first question. And don't be afraid to share anything. So what comes to mind? What comes to mind when you think of mental health? What comes to mind?
That two big words.
And they're big words.
What does it mean?
So what do you think? What do you think mental health means?
Anybody?
And it's no wrong answer right now. It's what you're thinking. And we'll have this conversation. Anyone?
And I know it's hard, but we say mental health. What does it mean? Who wants to help us understand that? Mental health. I know you can talk plenty. So this is not the time to be quiet.
And it's okay. Because a lot of times we have a hard time talking about it. So, what does those words mean?
Somebody's ready.
Oh, yes.
Mental health. I would say it's very disturbing being somebody who works in the healthcare system.
Say that.
And it's very disturbing.
Very disturbing.
There are a lot of stuff that happens to people, some people, that they can't get over it. But they had it for a very long time. Maybe they are ashamed to talk about it. Or maybe for some reason it hurts. They don't want to talk about it, they are confused. They got confused mind. So that really hurts a lot. So they keep on holding on to it for a very long period of time. And sharing it. And if that happens, it takes a toll on your body, mentally, through your brain. It makes you confused. That make you think that, probably you think about what happened in your past and all that stuff, that you are not important and all that stuff, but which you are. Things happen that what you're doing, somebody forced something on you that, all kinds of ways, probably like drugs, sex, all these things. Talk about it. So it became part of you now. When you just now all right in your brain. So I see people talk about Alzheimer's patients, so like somebody think you are in a different world now. You are not the same person that you used to be. So it's a very big thing.
Thank you. I just want to be transparent here. Mr. Kakula is my brother. I call him Uncle Tony. So thank you, Uncle Tony. It's hard for me to reference you without saying Uncle Tony. And so I have to say that. But Uncle Tony said when he think about mental health, he think about disturbing, he think about embarrassed, he think about shame. Mr. George, you said you had something to say? What comes to mind when you think about mental health?
Mental health.
And we asked, our two microphones are not working. We apologize for that. So we ask us to please speak louder so that other people can hear us, yeah?
Mental health. Mental is very deep.
It's very deep.
Very, very deep.
What do you mean by that?
Okay. There are some people who something have in their mind. They don't want to tell anybody. Keep it to themselves. Keep it to yourself. And you keep it to yourself, then you leave the room. But if you tell somebody, and say, look, I went to some place and get a problem, the person will tell you this. For example, some teachers, when they ready to go to school as a man, went to school teaching children. When they say, good morning, bro, because he have problem in the house with his wife. Say, look, even go home, you don't have to be in a school. So mental health is something that you have in your mind. Do not keep it, take it to share with somebody who will advise you. Thank you.
So mental health is something you have in your mind that is very deep.
Deep.
So what make it deep now?
What make it deep? You take it to be a secret.
You take it to be a secret.
Yeah, you don't want to tell anybody, but you keep it to yourself.
Okay.
So they, man, so deep. Saying this have done it to you, go and kill them.
Okay.
You don't take it and go shoot.
Okay. It's so deep, they keep it in their mind, in their heart, they don't say anything, and their mind will tell them, go get a gun and shoot somebody, and they will shoot the person.
Yeah, but when they tell someone, they will say, look, if they is so, what do you think is the cause?
Okay.
So if you know the cause, then you know how to solve the problem.
So
It's a psychological problem.
psychological problem. Okay. Thank you, Mr. George. It's very deep.
Yeah.
You keep it in your heart, and you don't tell anybody, and the mind will tell you to go shoot somebody, take a gun, you go and do it. But if you tell somebody, I hear Mr. George say, the person can help you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. George. Let's hear from others. When you think about mental health, we hear very deep, we hear secret, we hear embarrassed, we hear disturbing, we hear shame. What comes to your mind? Anybody here? Anybody want to say something else? We are family here. We can talk. I know it's hard. We are no longer strangers under the Palava hat. We are covered with our flags from different countries. Vicky, please come forward. Thank you. And please speak as much as you can. She's very soft-spoken. Please speak as loud as you
To me,
can.
mental health is that in 2022, I had a full major surgery. I had 2 surgeries for breast cancer. One, my nose for some mass, but they won't tell me it was cancer or not. And then I had, the doctor told me I had 3 aneurysms in my brain. So I was already suffering from depression and anxiety since 2000 because of all the trauma that I went through, being molested at the age of 5 and 13. So all of that combined together, you know, I started suffering from anxiety. Anxious. Sometimes I'm struggling to break my car and just drive, and wherever the gas finish the car, I want to end it. Sometimes I just put behind my couch and lay down and fool myself a child and just cry when nobody is around. Sometimes I'm walking. People tell me I have to come here. Sometimes I just walk from here to Walmart and walk back when I get the anxiety. Sometimes I just want to jump on the street for a car to hit me and I die. So that's why I'm thinking of mental health. But I'm still going through it. But I come here to volunteer the 5 days a week to help me so I can think of it. But when I'm home, my mind starts going all over the place. I try to commit suicide, to jump on the street, and all of that stuff. So that is my problem I'm going through right now.
Thank you, Ms. Vicky. What I heard from Vicky and what hopefully you all heard mental health means I have 4 surgeries. One for cancer, aneurysm. It means anxiety. It means I want to kill myself. Walking from here to Walmart. That's what mental health, what I heard. For Vicky, she said it means to me. And so I'll go to volunteer so that it can help me, and I'm putting words into that now. But mental health means to me, I was molested 2 times, at 5 and at 13. Thank you so much for sharing your story, Ms. Vicky. One more, anybody? When you think about mental health, what comes to your mind? What does it mean? Yes, Ms. Roslyn?
When I think of the word mental health, I tell you, it leads to so many things. Number one, when you are later and have been mistreated, like you live with somebody and they have other children in the house, and they got you alone just working, and then children going to school, and you alone not going to school, you just sitting in the house all day. That make you to think in life, that builds up in your mind. What is it that I have done that this woman don't want me to go to school anymore? But she only after her kids being educated, I'm just stay home and work. Secondly, when you have been raped as a little girl, and you don't want to tell anybody because you are so ashamed. And even the person who will do this to you will tell you, say, if you say it, I will kill you. If you say it, I will kill you. That builds up in your mind, that when you grow up, you're afraid to see men in your life. You're ashamed to see men in your life. Because it's happened to me. It happened to me personally. My first child, I have never told anyone this secret, but I will say it today. Let it get out of my mind right now. Let it get out of my soul right now. Let it get out of my whole body. When I was raped for my first child, I never told anybody. I kept it to myself for many, many years. For many, many years. Until I was able to talk to my pastor one day in Liberia. And he sat me down in the office because I hated to see men in my life. But to the extent that when I see them, I just want to just take something and start them. I'm not kidding you. I was saying, Miss K, I've never told you this before. All the years you've been knowing me. But as I sat in there, it just went to my mind. Went to my mind. You hear me? It built up in my mind so bad one day. When he talked to me, he said, let me tell you, God is not through with you yet. Because I wanted to kill myself. I wanted to kill myself. He said, God is not through with you yet. And because of that, you will be somebody tomorrow. I don't know who did it to me. I had no clue. The only thing I could remember was somebody putting something to my face, blocking my view. When I look, I ended up in the hospital. This is my story. Mental health is a big thing in life. It's a crime all by itself. It's a disease all by itself. And sometimes when I sit and think about it, that's why I didn't trust my daughter to go anywhere to live with anybody, but to live with me and me alone.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Roslyn. Mental health, to me, as what Ms. Roslyn said, means living with someone and doing all the work in the household. In many parts of the world, third world countries, we have indentured servants. We have people that grew up and with families, with the promise to the parents of those children that they would send them to school and make them civilized. They would learn. But many times they became the only person in the home doing all the work, the cooking, the cleaning, not going to school, taking care of the children. They themselves being children, but taking care of the children of the family members that they're living with. And that is what Ms. Roslyn is describing. Mental health means wondering what happened to me, why am I the one? Mental health means being raped. Mental health means keeping it in my heart and ashamed and not talking about it. Mental health means, Ms. Roslyn, I heard you say, for the first time, I'm going to say it today so I can get released. Thank you for sharing your story. It is difficult.
Yeah, and if you had a mental problem and you did not confess to anybody, you keep it become to, then you will become crazy. I'm trying to make some research. You will make clear. There's a schizophrenia. Some people, some crazy people, they will be walking on the road.
All right, Mr. George, thank you so much. So we're going to keep it going because we have time here. And again, Ms. Roslyn, Ms. Victoria, all of you will say thank you for sharing your story. Ms. Roslyn also said mental health means talking to my pastor, talking to someone, and having my pastor to encourage me. So, there's a word here. It's very big. And that word is stigma. S-T-I-G-M-A. You're like, what kind of word is that? Huh? Let me tell you the truth. Until I even heard that word before until I came to America. Right? Because we don't call that word there. So when I came to America, they said stigma. I said, what kind of word is that? And I went to college in my country. Huh? But Dr. Abu said, and he said that word, a big word. So what does it mean? Let's hear from us today. When we say stigma, what does that word mean? When you hear it, what do you can think about? If not Dr. Abu, you will have to help us to define that word today.
I'll try.
But let's hear from everybody first.
Stigma, right?
Stigma. What does stigma mean?
Something that stick on you.
Something that sticks on you.
Unremovable.
Unremovable. Thank you, Uncle Tony. Stigma. Something that sticks on you, unremovable. Let's hear from you, stigma. Before we leave for here today, our hopers will understand that we're small. Anybody else? What does stigma mean? S-T-I-G-M-A? Okay. Anybody else? When you think stigma, that big word, what thing can come to your mind? Shame. Shame. Stick on you. Shame. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Uncle Tony. Anybody else? Stigma.
Bias.
Huh?
Bias.
Bias. Stigma. Bias.
For me, it's something negative that is attached to different situations, different words. There are some situations specifically that are seen as negative because there's like a stigma around.
Something that is negative, that is attached to different words, different situations. Yes, Miss Ashley.
Misunderstanding.
Misunderstanding. Stigma, misunderstanding. We have our scribes in the background. They are writing down and capturing as much as we can. They are our note takers.
Stuck on you.
It's stuck on you. Embarrassment. We're hearing embarrassment, stuck on you. Something negative. Shame. Misunderstanding. Anybody else, when you think about stigma?
I think it can be harmful too because the intent is to make the person look bad. So it's harmful. Stigma is harmful.
Stigma is harmful because the intent is to make the person look bad. Anybody else? Stigma. Anything you can think about?
It becomes problematic.
Problematic. Tell him he would tell us.
No, es por me gustaría decir algo, pero encontré las palabras de
Yo hablo español. Yo te puedo ayudar.
Pero el primer tema sobre esa me gustaría decir algo, pero me parece muy difícil, tú sabes, porque explicar al público, a toda esta gente.
Una palabra es suficiente. Una palabra, algo que pensás cuando pensás en eso.
Porque desde la estigmatización, otros sobre la salud mental, porque en realidad son dos, salud mental, algo así.
So interpret that. So he's saying that there's
Messy.
he's not really
Gracias.
thinking about a word. It's more like something negative, like something that it's created to make you feel bad or make whatever thing bad. That's what he said.
Fabian, that is two I remember from college. Thank you so much. Okay, so something bad, something negative. Before today, before we came here, anybody heard that? If you heard that word before, put your hand up. Kind of good. So many of us heard that word before, right? How many of us understand what the word means? Stigma. Okay. So before today, how many people never heard that word before? If you didn't hear, it's okay. This is no time to be ashamed of. If you haven't heard the word stigma before, can you let us know? Anybody never heard it before? Mrs. Scott, you said yes. So, your first time hearing stigma? Okay, stigma. All right. Thank you very much. So, when we think about stigma, we think shame, embarrassed, stuck on, negative, right? Some people say it also means like a stain, right? Taboo, right? Those are all the things stigma can mean. So, if that's the case, let's take the word now. We have learned more about it, right? Let's try and bring it to mental health. So when you think stigma and you think about mental health, what are some of the mental health, and we already know what mental health, do we understand mental health better now? What mental health, we understand it better? So what are some of the mental health stigmas? Anybody? What are some of the stigma we think about mental health? What are some of the stigma? Yes.
That all mental health has to be bad. Like there is good, you can have good mental health and healthy mental health, just like you can have good physical health.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
If you mention you have some kind of mental health issue, you might be seen as weak or not worthy. So there's a stigma that you can bring it up.
Yeah, mental health stigma. If you mention that you have mental health, you may be seen as weak and not worthy. Yes.
Poor appetite.
Poor appetite. Okay. Thank you. Mental health stigma.
You might be seen as dangerous.
You might be seen as dangerous. Right? You might be seen as dangerous. Oh, this person has mental health. They're weak. They're not worth it. The dangerous. Stay away from them, right? What are some other mental health stigma? If we can think about one or two.
You might be viewed as less competent.
You might be viewed as less competent, but Mexico, that's a big word you brought in this space. What does competent mean?
She can't do the job because she has anxiety.
She can't do the job because she has anxiety. Competent means you can't make it happen. You can't do the work, right? You can't do what you're supposed to do. What people expect of you. You are not competent. Thank you for breaking it down for us. You can't do the job.
Keep away from people.
Keep away from people. Okay. So I'm going to ask we're going to do a follow-up and Ms. Donna will come in. So if that's what it is, then let's bring it right to the immigrant community. First we'll talk about what stigma is, what mental health is, what mental health stigma is, what mental health stigma is. But in the immigrant community, what are some of the mental health stigmas that we experience as immigrants? What are some of the stigmas in our community? Dr. Abu.
So, sometimes when we talk about mental health too, from region to region, it will be a little different.
Yes.
So some of us growing up, when we heard the word mental health, or when somebody was considered a mental health person, or person had mental health issue, then that person has a very clearly defined characteristic. First of all, most times they are naked. They walk in the street naked, man or woman. They sleep in the dumpster. they eat in the dumpster, their hair not combed, they don't brush their teeth. So these are some of the things that you grow up seeing other people describe mental health to be, and you embrace that. That's what you know to be mental health. Then you leave and come to America, and you left your beautiful mother, your wonderful father back there, and you come to America and say, well, you got to get citizenship, etc., etc., before you can travel out of the country. Now it's taking 20 years. Your father has died. Your mother who raised you and one of you has died. You can't go back. It's paining you, it's breaking your heart. It's affecting you. You're driving, going to work, you're crying. But you don't want to say anything because in this country they call it mental health. Because when you start thinking about mental health, now you start thinking about the man back home who didn't have clothes and what have you. I want to tell you something, but I don't want for you to be thinking that I'm crazy. Because mental health being crazy in the culture you come from. And because you don't want to be called crazy, so you keep it to yourself. But at the end of the day, what is happening? Now you can't function. You know, you used to be productive on your job, you're no longer productive. You used to be attentive, you're no longer attentive. Your family, every day they're getting insults and they get in trouble from you. Everything makes you less. Your friends can't even have a company with you again. Because when they come, guess what? You're the loudest. You know, you're ready to break glasses, you're ready to punch the wall, etc., etc. So that is the situation with the stigma. Because you are already raised with one mindset of mental health, you don't want to be described as that person. Because to be described as a mental health person means the person who eats in the dumpster and whatever. So that stigma now is on you. Like, I'm going to keep it to myself. But guess what? You just lost 3 jobs as a result. When you could have just spoken to somebody, and that person will help you over time to be able to deal with the specific issue that you have, so that you can be able to manage that situation and be more productive and continue. So stigma is something that generally connotes negativity, but at the same time, it has held a lot of people back. You know, I'm not going to reach for it. And some people have come to say, I'm not telling my Liberian friend my secret. My Liberian friend will go and tell the world about my privacy. I'm not talking about my situation. Like, in the case of abuse, I may know the person who molested me as a child, but because that person happens to be a family member, I don't want to divulge the information. You understand? So, layers and layers and layers and layers. That's why the professional peels through the layer, peel through it, and they get to it. So stigma is a big thing. It has a cultural component, and in the society is hindering a lot of us from accessing. Because we don't want to be called crazy, we don't want to be classified as crazy. Say, who do you want to marry? Oh, Mr. Masale, don't. Oh, you know crazy that wrong in the people's family.
Thank you. You know, craziness runs in the family. Yeah. I wish you said it so eloquently. Yes, right? Yeah. We all understood it. That's what stigma means when we think of a stigma and mental health in the immigrant community. Crazy, generational transfer, right? We're transferring it through generations. And you said, I come here 20 years, I still can't get my citizenship. My father has died, my mother has died. I can't go home. I keep it all in. I'm too afraid to tell anyone. I'm ashamed. Thank you, Dr. Abu. We would love to say, so what happened when you feel ashamed, right? But I think that the Habul said something that maybe you all can say. I don't tell anyone. I keep it in.
Yeah, sometimes people that suffer from mental illness, they fear to express themselves, because they don't trust anybody, trustworthiness. They don't trust anybody. Now we in a great America, we got all kinds of people that call themselves professional.
Yes.
We get psychotherapists. They say, who do I tell my problem to? They say, okay, I'm going to seek a therapist. Maybe somebody need 9-month courses or, because most of them are regulated 9-month courses. I work in the healthcare system.
Thank you.
Okay? Now you take yourself and go to the therapist, thinking that you trust this person that you're going to give all your story to. But instead, some of them are psychopathic themselves. Okay? Google it. I tell anybody, Google it, and anybody that say that they are therapists, go and see how the conversation. Listen to that conversation. You understand? So they listen to that conversation, then when they know your weak point, they use that weak point against you.
Thank you for sharing that,
Uncle Joe. So I tell anybody who have mental problems, if you're looking for therapists, psychotherapists, what you're going to, try to get that person information and go and Google it and try to find that person's background, criminal background. This time is so easy. Then you will know what that person important or how that important.
Thank you, Uncle Tony. What I'm hearing, hopefully what we are hearing is that mental health can also lead to lack of trust. Yes. Now it's difficult to trust people, and sometimes when you try to trust people and go to speak to a therapist or a psychotherapist, that person themselves may not be trustworthy. And we hear you, Uncle Tony. We hear you, and that's all we can do is say we hear you. And thank you for sharing. We want to say, hello to Louis back there. Thank you for coming, Louis. And I'm leaving the other part out. Ms. Donna, if you want to say that. Dr. Glenn Moore, a Liberian psychologist, is here, and so much more. Welcome, Dr. Glenn. Or doctor, and many more. And I'm telling you, he has at least 2 PhDs. We say welcome, Dr. Moore. And Ms. Yvette Freeman, one of our former deputy ministers in Liberia, and both of them high school friends. Thank you so much, classmates, graduates, class of 90. Great.
That's a stigma right there.
That's a stigma right there. Exactly. That's so true. Good job, Dr. Abdul. Good job. That's a class of 90. He said that's a stigma. One year, right? Yeah. That's what we're talking about here. And then it goes back what Mr. Joyce said, mental health runs deep. And it's impacting us, and we're not even aware that we are being impacted by mental health. And we just think about the person who may be on medication, or the person who is, that, and they put all the labels on people, right? So mental health is so much more than that. So Ms. Donna, how about we talk about access to mental health?
Sure. So, we talked a lot about mental health, what it means, what stigma means. So, access to mental health services in our community. Do we know about the services available in our communities? Are you familiar with the services? Do you know where to go to get help or send a family member in our community?
But let's break it down some more. When we talk about services, what does that mean? So do you have a mental health services? What does that mean?
What does it mean? What does services mean to you?
Counseling, okay. Services mean counseling. Anybody else? What does services mean?
Supporting services. What does it mean to us?
Listen to them.
again, Mr. Hussein.
Support them and listen to them.
Support them.
And listen to them.
Okay, someone who will support you and listen to you. Support them and listen to them. Okay.
To also mean empowerment.
Services mean empowerment. Okay. Services mean empowerment. Support means to support and listen.
And education and gaining knowledge.
Services mean education and hidden knowledge, right? So, yes?
Somebody that you can go to explain a problem to, you think you can go to explain a problem to, that will listen to you.
Okay.
But like I said, you got to be very, very careful to this person that you're going to go to.
We hear that one.
Right.
Yeah, we hear that one. Yeah, we hear that one. Thank you so much. So, if that is the case, we say it means services, it means support, it means counseling. Ms. Donna, what you asked them? Do you know about the services that are available here in your community? You know about what the services are? No. Who can tell us about any service in your area?
Any type of
Any
service.
mental health
Where
service,
you can
right?
go.
Where you can go.
Who you can talk to.
Anybody?
Well, when you talk about services, it include housing.
Housing, okay.
Because housing, lack of housing, lack of food, those are very traumatic and it can really add to your stress level. If you childcare, those are all services that if you know the right places, people to ask.
So thank you so much. He said childcare, housing, food are services, right? And then he used another big word, stress. Now the first time stress now come out today. What do you mean by stress, Dr. Blue?
I mean, running around pulling your hair. You don't have hair. When you're stressed, you can't sleep. You're always worried.
Okay.
You know, and it causes you medical problems.
It causes medical problems, holding the hair. Is that mental health?
Is that part of mental health?
Is that part of mental health? Ah.
When you're not able to do, you want it to be done.
The thing you're not able to do, you want it to be done.
You're taking too much.
Yeah.
According to my experience as a social worker, I work as a social worker.
In Sudan?
No, here.
Oh, good. Thank you.
For 14 years here. I have experience as a social worker. I work some of my clients as mental health. Really very important to, for example, if he is in this level and you here, you have to back to him, back to his level, you know, and listen to him and know what he likes, what he doesn't like, what make him happy, what make him sad, everything from A to Z about him. You know what I mean? Very important. Very important, you know what I mean? I realize some people, it's easy to change his mood, you know what I mean? Since you know what he like, what he doesn't like, and sometimes he talk about his problem, what make him like that, you know what I mean? Very important to listen to him. They need people to listen, you know what I mean? Because nobody listen to him at home. That's why when they come to nursing home or home care or stuff like that, they're looking for you to listen to him and listen to him and let him enjoy what he like, what kind of sport, what kind of, let him talk, you know what I mean?
Thank you.
And this is very important, you know.
So, and thank you, because that, I'm hearing what he's saying, listening, having someone to listen.
Very important.
To talk about what bothers you, what makes you happy.
Yes.
What makes you tick.
So mental health is to listen, to be listened to, right? To be listened to. So let's go back to services. Do you know about the services? We say housing, food, childcare, right? Counseling. But do you people know where those services are in your community? How many people here live in Delaware County? So many. So you live in Delaware County. Where you can go for counseling in Delaware County? Anybody here know where you can go?
Well, for the
children know of DCI. Is that DCIU?
Okay, DCIU, very good. No, but we just want to pause on that. So anybody know when they need childcare service, where to go? Where to go?
ELRC.
What does ELRC
Early
mean?
Learning Resource Center.
Oh, Early Learning Resource Center. So what do they can do there? What do they do there?
If you are working or in school and you need help for childcare, they help pay for it.
That's very good. And if you are in need of food, do you know where to go to get food help? Where do you go? Does anybody know where to go? What are some of the places you go? Well, that's just one of the places, right? That's just one of the places. All for All also has a food cabinet, a food pantry as well. And not very far from us, we have Murphy's Market, also a food pantry. But let's talk about mental health. All of those are mental health. Food, because they all impact our mental health. We agree, right? So, but let's talk about counseling for our adults, for you yourself. Do you know where to go for counseling in Delaware County?
If you go to school, I recently got therapy from school. So I go to Delaware County Community College, and I contacted them saying that I wasn't feeling good, that I needed someone to talk to, and now I have a counselor that helps me over there. So.
Thank you. She knew where to go, but she didn't let the embarrassment or the shame or the stigma, all those things stop her. She said, I need help. She talked to somebody and they listened to her. That's positive mental health, right? Seeking help. Miss Donna, pretty interesting. So we're going to leave time because we have one or two providers here, hopefully. It's not generally what we do at our Palava, but we want to make space because this is so important. Because we don't want to just talk about mental health, but we want you to know where you can go. When you want to talk to that person so they can listen to you, because that's very important. All right? So Ms. Donna, if we were to keep it going, we want to ask, and Ms. Donna sort of asked, because we wanted to know, have you ever gone to seek mental health? Especially those of us from the immigrant community. One person said yes. If you're willing to share, you don't have to. But we want to say this is a safe space. Has anyone else gone? Ms. Becky, would like to tell us just a little bit about it in the interest of time. Where did you go?
After my surgery in the hospital in Pennsylvania,
Was that provider in Delaware County?
No.
In Philadelphia?
After that, I said, can't give anybody anymore because I don't live in Philadelphia.
Because you don't live in Philadelphia.
Now I don't have nobody to talk to.
And now you have nobody to talk to. And part of our conversation is to say help is available right here in Delaware County. And we hope that we can leave with that, as we have this conversation. If you know that help is available, would anybody want to go? Would it be okay for you to go to seek help?
Yes.
Yeah, it would?
She said yes.
So, Ms. Dana, how about we ask this question? You want to ask a question about where they try to get help? And I think we already know some of it. Two people have already said it. But we talked about going to the counselor, right?
Yeah.
For help and the therapist at school. So where else? Where else? Yes.
I wanted to put in, so they're not here today, but there's an organization called Omni, which is right here, that has certified peer specialists.
Very
and
good.
I personally went and got a certified peer specialist at one point in my life. And there's someone who has experienced poor mental health at some point of their life, and they've kind of, recuperated and gotten to a better space, and they're here to support other people. And our agency, Child and Family Focus, we have that for young people under the age of, our certified peer specialists are under the age of 26, but
Thank you very much. So we were going to my counselor, going to the DCIU, but Ms. Donna said, what else? Has anybody gone to, where else have you gone to seek mental health?
Well, so I'm from Child and Guidance of CGRC here in.
Welcome, Child Guidance.
And we do the same, sort of provide counseling for youth, but with families as a whole. And we actually work, we're affiliated with Upper Darby School District. So any kids that's identified for mental health needs with Upper Darby, they contract and send them to us. So we're here in the Delaware County, but we contract with all the local Delaware County school districts. So, and then like I say, kids that's coming from crisis centers and those type of things. So working with the families.
Thank you. We have Child Guidance, we have HOCUP, we have Delco Contact, we have the Delaware County Department of Human Services. These are all providers in places, and hopefully we're going to make space, make time to hear from them a little bit more, that we can go to who live in Delaware County for help. But and we know somebody said they went to the pastor in Liberia, but what's about here? Has anyone gone to the pastor? Maybe a traditional healer. In our country, we go to the zoo, the Oma. Well, let's talk about it. He's a psychologist. Dr. Moore is a psychologist, right? Dr. Moore, how many immigrant families do you see, if I may ask you? Do you see more immigrant families or more American families? Native American families?
A mixture.
People born here.
One of our first clients we ever saw was, I think, about 1998. A real couple in Camden. And so the thing is, from the African perspective, even African Americans over the years, been there for up to 40 years. And I think somebody mentioned that era was coming in about stigma. So if you have a mental health condition or problem, whether housing, child care, whatever, we don't easily talk about it. It's associated with shame and achievement. So because of that, we don't easily go to a therapist for help. But once we can have conversations and talk about it, you feel free, more free to see a therapist or to see a provider or support coordinator to make sure you get the service.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Moore. All right, Ms. Donna, let's keep it moving.
In the interest of time, I want you to think about this question and just tell us your thoughts. What can be done to let our community know about the mental health resources and services? We want to hear from you. What do you think? What do you need?
Yeah. What do we need to do to let the people in our community know that they can get help?
They can get help, and it's okay to get help.
Talk about it. Yes,
So we have a lot of smaller social groups, call them ethnic group or call them regional group. One of them is coming up very soon. So those places are point of contacts where immigrants congregate. You can go there and say, hey, I'm so person, I'm from Multicultural. Hey, whatever issues you need to talk about, reach out to us. This is my card. And a lot of, at least immigrants from Liberia, we are religious people. We go to churches, we go to mosques, and what have you. And Sunday and Friday, the mosques and churches are back.
Yes.
And these are places you can have a one-on-one talk with your pastor or your imam, let them know that this service is available. Now, I say that also from the standpoint that there will be some religious leader who will say to their congregants that you don't need that. You need my prayer. You understand? Now, I'm not saying it doesn't work because I believe prayer works. Okay, that's my belief. Whether it's empirical or not, but that's my belief. However, if that's something that needs to come to the forefront, then it needs to come to the forefront. But sometimes it can also be a reason for people not accessing the services because somebody they taught was going to encourage them to say step forward and move they're telling them no, hold back.
Yes.
All you need to do is to bring this and that, and then we can take care of it.
Very interesting. So, Dr. Abu, what happens when our pastors are telling us, our religious leaders or traditional healers are telling us, all you need is me. You don't need to go and to a therapist or to a psychologist or to a counselor. What happens then?
Well, it will vary from case to case because quite recently, a very good friend of mine was going through some difficult times, and then on top of that difficult time, we had COVID. And on top of the COVID, his son, adult son, developed some malignancy. And during the process, the fellow died in the COVID period from the complication of the malignancy. And then I reached out to him and said we needed to have a conversation about this whole thing. And I told my supervisor we need to talk about this. And interestingly, he said to me, Brother Abu, to tell you the truth, I don't really think I want to go that route. I think I'm okay with my religious leader. I think I'm okay with my community elders. You know, they are doing very well for me, and it will continue. But I said to him, I said, even though that may be true, however, there are people here who are trained to do that. Just like when somebody has appendicitis, or you need a good surgeon from medicine to do something about it. It's the same thing when your mind is troubled. You need somebody who is specialized in the mind to handle it. These two things can be complementary. He said, let me think about it. Long story short, I reached out to him again, and the conversation did not progress. He went to Liberia, and he never came back. You know? And so when you ask me from my standpoint, he got sick, he got this, he got that, and what have you. But I think he died from, who know the word, broken heart. I think he died from broken heart. And I can bet on it that he died from broken heart. You know, because with his own health condition, plus his son's health condition over a protracted period, plus COVID, and the COVID environment, and that kind of death, that was very difficult.
So what would be some, thank you so much for sharing that story. What would be some other words that describe broken heart? Broken heart. Depression. What other words that describe broken heart? Stress.
Despair.
Despair. Yes.
Loneliness.
Loneliness. Hopelessness. Right? So when we get broken heart, it can mean all of those things. And all of that, if it can mean all of those things, that is called what? Mental health. And it means then that it will help us if we can do what? If we can seek help, right? And it's hard for us in our community, right, Ms. Donna? In the African American community, this is not just an immigrant community problem, even though that's what we're talking about today. It's the African American community, it's the Caucasian community, it's all communities.
And like you said, it's a human problem.
It's a human problem. And if we know there are people who can help us, who will be willing to listen to us, hopefully we can move past the feeling shame, feeling embarrassed. You know, like Mr. George said, it's deep. We can move past the secret and we can talk to somebody, right? And hopefully that somebody can lead us to somebody if they can help us. Would you say that, Ms. Donna? Do we all agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. So I think that Abu said it well. We can, how can we increase awareness? How we can let people know that help is available in our community, right? We need to do what?
Pass information.
Pass information. Anybody else? Network. Anybody else? Anybody else?
I think very important for those people, like mental people, The community is supposed to looking positive for them. You know why? Because according to our in community in Africa, in Sudan, some family, they don't want to send the mental people to the doctor, because the community, if you send your son or your daughter to the mental doctor or something like that, all people say, oh, that is he has mental.
So how do we, it's a stigma, right? It's the shame, all the things we talk about.
Absolutely. People is scared about, I don't want to send my son or my daughter to the doctor because they never, the community never gave the knife for this boy, for your son or for your daughter. Never. You know that even if they get treated and be okay, still in the mind, no.
So how can we begin to break that?
That's what we help them understand.
Right?
To
All of
get
us.
to this point to seek that help and make us feel comfortable. Because yes, it's not just at immigrant communities. It's in the black and brown. It's in
right?
the
So what, yes, Pastor Suar, how can we change that?
Yeah,
so that our community can say, we're not ashamed anymore. So that you sitting here can say, I'm not embarrassed anymore, I'm going for help.
So I'll use the COVID as an example. A lot of our people, they don't want to take the COVID vaccine.
Yes.
But I was one of the first in line to take it to let them know there's nothing wrong with it. That's from my conviction, but on a broader spectrum, I think we who are leaders should really speak to those issues that really hurt our community. We should not hold back. Because our holding back does more harm than when we speak out. So we should be the example to really help our people come from that. And for me, I practice that in my community, you know. When there are issues, we go at it rationally, and if you are the leader, you take the lead. I think you help a lot of people to come along.
I think the government is supposed to make workshop for family, not for...
Just hold that. We're going to come to that. We're going to come, because that's what we're going to talk about. Thank you so much. But, you know, and Pastor Suar delved right into it. What can community leaders do, right? And there are many leaders right here in this space. Our elders are community leaders. They lead with wisdom and guidance. We look to them to help us to communicate that getting help when we're feeling down and sad, there's nothing wrong with it, right? So thank you, Pastor Suar. We need to speak out. We need to encourage. And Dr. Abu said that what he did. But let's talk about, and we're wrapping this up now. The people who provide the services, right? What do you think they need to do so that you can go to them? The psychologists, the counselors, the DCIU that can help children, the Delaware County Intermediate Unit, Holcomb Behavioral Health, DELCO Contact, Child Guidance. They're supposed to be the people. The psychologist here, Dr. Glenmore, Dr. Abu Masala is a medical doctor and a researcher, but you know, he's someone that we can go to too. He's not doing counseling formally, but as a medical doctor, he's doing it all the time, right? Even though that's not his title. What do they need? How can they help us?
Talk to the person and not to the mental health.
Talk to the person and not the mental health, Ms. Donna. That's what Mr. Lewis said. How can mental health services be made better to meet the needs of the immigrant community? Talk to the person. What does that mean?
I'm more than my mental health.
That's powerful. I am more than my mental health.
I think there is a cultural sensitivity piece to that. Because sometimes by not validating a person's mental health wardrobe, you understand? Sometimes you build a big barrier to getting that person to open to you. For example, if I believe that prayer and meditation help me with my mental health, and you, by therapist, saying that you're wasting your time, this is what you need instead of that, the next time you're not going to see.
Thank you, thank you.
So we need a cultural sensitivity piece.
Thank you, sir.
Services to understand where the patients are coming from and whether somebody feels that they go here in the community.
Thank you. If we can ask this of Louis one more time. How the providers here, you said talk to the person, not to the mental health. How do they talk to the mental health? What do they do to talk to the mental health? How to do it? Give us an example.
When you're talking to the individual will, they trust you, or as progression goes, they will start to share, their body language, their voice will share with you what their mental health is. You guys talked about being sad and depressed. If you are that, then talking to you to find out what happened. For some of us, you may be born with that, and it's just starting to come out. Yeah.
But instead of talking to that person, if they're not doing that, how do they talk to the mental health? Because I want them to hear what that means. You said talk to the person, not to the mental health. How do they talk to the mental health instead of talking to the person? What are some of the things they do to talk to the mental health instead of the person?
That have changed over the last 25, 30 years. Before we used to talk to the mental health with hospitalization and medication. Now it's more about therapy, talk therapy, what other things besides just traditional Western medicine work.
So talking to mental health is hospitalization, talking to mental health is medication. Is that what I'm hearing? It used to be.
It used to be.
Okay.
That was the default.
Okay.
Hospitalization.
Thank you.
To address that. Yes. Now, it is about having communication.
Thank you. What can the providers that are here? There are at least 4 providers in this space, but we also have Senator Tim Kearney's office here. We also have the Foundation for Delaware County. They fund programs. They support organizations to talk to the person and not just the mental health. In food insecurity, they support with housing, right? Child care, so many more. What do they need to do? What do they need to know, right, Ms. Donna?
I mean, I can say what I know that I need, and I've gathered from this discussion today. I have so many notes written down on just the people who shared what their perspective on mental health is, and it's very different depending on their culture. So a lot what Dr. is saying, that cultural competence, like these conversations need to continue. There needs to be a platform for the immigrant communities, for any community, to be able to say what mental health really means to them so that we can tailor our support and access them. And another thing is she translated our referral into other languages, which is so important, but now that leads, agencies to be able to have that staffing. So we need people who are champions in the community, in immigrant communities, who want to make differences in other people's lives, to come on board with our supportive services so that we can join together and provide that, so that representation is so important. Being able to represent, your community or where you're from or what you're doing is so important. So we need this community to come to our community and just like that oneness, that belonging, it needs to be joined,
But thank you so much. What do they need to do to make you get to them? What do you want from them? Tell them what you want from them. How can they help you?
Well, I think they exist to provide services, and so being creative to add to what you were saying, meeting the people where they are, because your commodity is only valuable when it's consumed. So you have the resources, you have the thing, but keeping it to yourself will not make the impact you want to make. So getting it out there to the people who need it, to the individual and the institution that are closest to them, I think matters a lot.
Okay. Yeah. Where do we go? I think that's the question. Like, where can we reach those communities? I know, like, every once in a while we may get a referral for a Spanish-speaking family, and that's because it was made accessible. Where do the services need to go in these communities? Do we need to go to churches? Do we need to go to the food banks? Do we need to go to the playground?
That's the question
for the community.
All of the above. All of the above.
Yeah. And that is important for, we have, and I want you to share, if you don't mind, that you.
Are you asking the providers not to say?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yes. Asking the providers to let us know, you know, and share, you know,
Yeah.
like you were saying. I'm not gonna say, I am gonna say it. Coming to the food pantry.
All of the above.
All of the above. Coming to our food pantry, sharing information, letting the community see your faces and what you. So, our providers, would you like to share?
So I'm gonna start off. The reason I picked this quarter is because in order for that to happen, these moments need to happen. We need to be able to go to our baseball parks, and our playgrounds, and our churches, or our synagogues, or wherever people are, because I truly believe that there's no difference except in our experiences from me to you. Our experiences are different. But our lives are not different. We still are all here. We're still in the same space. And in order for us to help each other, for me to learn from you to learn from me, is we have to build a relationship one person at a time. That's what building a system of care means. It means building it one relationship at a time so we can support each other. In our day of need, our day of triumph, and working as a community. Every moment, every time you say hello, every time you're okay with walking into a new space, you're building it one moment at a time. Every time anybody mentioned mental health here tonight, they talk about it as a negative. The dream is for mental health to be no different than a doctor's appointment.
Absolutely.
It should be no different than going to the doctor for cancer or anything else. Because it is something that, as you said, is deep. Just like a cancer or a broken bone that's got to be worked on and healed with time. And how many people have needed somebody to pick them up after they fell because they broke something? And that's what we need to do together. So this is my relationship. We're going to build it one day at a time, and I ask all of you for your help to do it. We're going to build a relationship.
Thank you so much, Laura. And if I may introduce you, can you share your role, where you work, and your title?
So my name is Laura Keebler. I've been working at Delaware County for over 25 years. I worked in child welfare for 19 years, working with kids in foster care. I've been that person with the police taking that child away, unfortunately. And I've given those children back when we've worked out the problems. Right before the pandemic, I went back to where I started. I started in mental health as a one-on-one. I started in residentials, like people were talking about, going into hospitals. And I came back to mental health because I saw so many kids struggling and bouncing from foster care to foster care because of their mental health. Because of that, they didn't have regular homes. They didn't have regular food. They kept changing where they were every 5 minutes because they weren't stable enough to get their mental health needs met. Every time somebody would keep them out of the house. So I came back to mental health. And every day we hear the worst stories about the worst kids. And no offense to the adult population, I need some hope in my life. So I work with kids. So I can get some hope in my life because every day I see the smile I hear on a phone call or a meeting the smile of a child.
Thank you.
So that's why I'm here, to build the system of care and to meet people one person at a time.
One of the important people at the Department of Human Services, a supervisor there, and so many more. Thank you for sharing. We want to hear from Ms. Donna, our providers, right? Christine, Holcomb, Child Guidance.
I'm Lauren from Holcomb Behavioral Health, and I like how you brought the coin back in because I picked the penny. The actual wording here was fresh starts, but I also like it as new beginnings because I'm new to Delaware County. I worked in Philadelphia, Montgomery County, Bucks County, but I'm new here in Delaware. And I'm really grateful to have been asked to join this today because just hearing the stories, and I agree, I think we have to hear the one-on-one stories and not just the statistics of things that are going on, the stories that are shared. And I love what you said about talking to the person and not the mental health, because when I started in the field, I talked to the diagnosis, and I couldn't figure out why I was not good at my job until I started talking to the person by being a person. And so I feel like we need to continue to reinforce that in our services, because that's what it's all about. So we're Holcomb Behavioral Health. We are located in the 200 block of Market Street, up past the Wendy's, or 69th Street, I'm sorry, up on 69th Street. It says Chimes on there as well. That's our partner or our parent organization. We have outpatient therapy for anyone from 4 years old up to any age. We also have some residential programs that have to be referred by the county, but we do have 5 residential programs in Holcomb that for people that need some supportive housing, and we also have 2 family-based programs and intensive behavioral health programs for children who are struggling, and we support the entire family, and we do that out in their homes and in the schools. So if you want, I will send you our flyer. I did not bring it today, and you can share it out with everyone, but if you are looking for resources, you can just walk in our front door, and our receptionist can help you, even if it's not about mental health. We know the other services in the area. So thank you for inviting me. I'm very grateful to have been here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Child Guidance.
I would say too, and I think it's like one of the things hearing your stories is about empowerment. You know, meeting them, it doesn't always gotta be, always tell people reactive. It should be proactive. Like you were talking about, like thinking about 20 years. It's empowering people to get those services to address the stressors that's causing the stigma of depression, anxiety, what we think of mental health in those words, but giving them the tools for the toolbox. You know, being able to so if a pastor's challenging, be able to say, okay, I agree with prayer, but this is what we can offer you on that side, in addition to prayer. Being able to offer, one of the things I always say is when I've worked in residential, different programs, first thing we ask, people that was coming into these programs is not like their diagnosis or what's wrong with them, but it's what's happened to you. It's a trauma-informed care, and then that was it. Do you want something to eat? Can I offer you something to drink? Not about, okay, why are you here? But just doing those basic things, listening to people, hearing people's stories, hearing people what they're going through at the present, but being able to build just authentic, true relationships. And again, at Child Guidance, we get that opportunity because we're working in the schools and the communities that we can go and just play basketball with a student, sit in class and do their work with them. And then, you start gaining these reports, they start opening up, and then you be able to navigate the supports to help the families and everything. But I definitely, when I look at it, it's an empowering people, empowering individuals, empowering communities that we can, then that's how we grow, and that's how we're able to address all these barriers and everything that's in place that we know is a struggle.
Thank you very much. Delco Contact.
All right, so my name, I'll keep trying to get quick. So my name is Ashley King Breton. I'm from Child and Family Focus. Delco Contact is a newer program that has been created to support in gaining access to all of these services right here. So I could be the initial point of contact, where it's for youth. If you are a parent or guardian or of your church or anyone and you have a concern and you don't know where to go, if you're like, I need to access mental health care, I see something's going on, or my child is feeling this way, my granddaughter is, exhibiting these things, you can fill out a referral. Anybody can fill out a referral. It doesn't matter what insurance you have at the time. If you need access to a service provider that require like a Medicaid funded, we can assist with that. What's really unique about Delco Contact is the supports that are there for you are parent peer specialists. Parent peer specialists are people who have lived experience. So I am a parent peer specialist. I was born and raised in Delco. I lived at 46 Glendale Road. My mother worked for the Office of Mental Health or Office of Intellectual Disability, what it was. I was one of those people who needed to access services, and I struggled along the way. I was able to, get that support and then find a position in providing support to people. So that's what's really unique, is that we are individuals coming from this community who have access to mental health care, supportive services, whatever, and we're here to kind of transfer those skills and support our families who come into this process. So even if it's a parent who who needs some assistance along with their child, that's where those referrals can be made. I can say, hey, we have Holcomb here, we have guidance here. Let's figure out a quick plan. What do we need to access the service? Do you have private insurance? Do you have your job insurance? Maybe we need to, look to see what other benefits. Oh, your electricity is going to get cut off. Here's where you need to go. So it's about making that first contact when you're entering not only just the mental health field, but also just that stress that you're talking about, that whatever supports you need, you know what I mean? So I have a lot of information here. I'm so thankful that a referral has been translated to 2 languages so far. I also have some folders here for other providers, for doctors, with my card, my information, but it also has my supervisor's information. And then I have a ton of information up here about all of the other programs that we have at Child and Family Focus, that if Delco Contact is the first point of contact, we can refer to those programs as well, as long as it fits the needs of the youth and the family. I tried.
Hi everybody, I'm Christina. I'm also with Laura's office. So within my role, I do a lot with youth and family and community engagement. So hearing everyone talk about just the importance of relationship and meeting families where they are in their community. So I've been grateful to work with Ms. Kamara, Ms. Stein, and a lot of other staff here at Multicultural, and have invited us out to come to Pantry Days and bring their resources and help families get connected. I primarily work with children's mental health, so I brought a lot of the information here, but a lot of our providers work with adults as well. We were talking about housing and food pantries and things like that. We have a long list. So I know, Ms. Kamara, you all provide pantries here, but there's some others in the community. I know a lot of families maybe from Upper Darby, but there's some all across Delaware County. In addition to that, we understand with services, sometimes wait lists can create a barrier. So there is a handout that talks about what you can do while you're waiting for services and support. Delco Contact is a huge provider, but some of our other providers are here. Now, all services have wait lists, but those that do just some additional supports that you can contact for that. And then we have a lot over there, so I don't want to take too much time with closing, but I'll stay for a little while if anybody has any questions. But the other thing I want to add, even if you can't utilize something, I think the way that us as a community can help each other is take something that we can share with our neighbors, share with our friends, share with our family members, because that allows to bring that awareness and conversation and eliminate some of that stigma.
And if anybody has a group that they think would benefit from us coming out to or us reaching out to, please reach out to Miss Portia. She'll get Christina. Christina's she's the person that goes out first and goes, okay, people, what do they like? Can we work with them? So she's my first line of defense.
Right. Thank you. And if I may, one of the reasons why we wanted to have this conversation today and ask invite our providers to come and listen is, within our immigrant community, so many things are happening now. It is changing. We are having people that are dying by suicide. We are having many of our young people that are being incarcerated. We are having a lot of people started to go on YouTube and talk about feeling depressed, feeling stressed out, wanting to die by suicide. We are having a lot of challenges in our community right now. And we need to come out of the closet and say, we have struggling with things that we are dealing with, and we don't want to be ashamed. We don't want to let it remain deep in our brain. We want to talk to people. So for our parents here, if you work with children, we want to say there is help available. And we encourage all of us, parents, leaders, elders, to hear deep today and to encourage us to go and seek help. Justin, right? And then Michiko, the foundation. Justin, you represented the team's current. We're wrapping this up. Please give us a few minutes.
I'll be very quick. I'm here on behalf of Senator Carney's office. We have a few offices throughout Delaware County, one right around the corner, which I'm usually staffing the Upper Darby office. Oftentimes, we may not have the direct resources from our office, but we will refer to different groups. I think we referred to Foundation, referred to some of these other groups before as well. And then it goes beyond mental health as well, like the housing and other resources. We're always happy to help. I have some brochures here. And I think, I'm here for the food banks every 2 weeks as well, so we connect with the community where they stand. Just I can say real quick, from being out in the community at the food banks, we definitely met some folks who might not even know where our office is or comes in. So we've seen some engagement from that. So I think it definitely helps for the provider who can at least come to one of these food banks. You definitely see some folks you might not see all the time. So, thank you.
Thank you. Foundation.
So I'm not a service provider, but I do want to bring to your attention that at the beginning of the year, we will have another funding cycle. And for the last 2 years, we had community health and neither organizations apply. But Holcomb didn't apply, and Child and Family Focus didn't apply, and I could not understand why. So if we could maybe schedule some time later when the RFP comes out so we can see if you fit within those funding priorities.
That's great. Wonderful, wonderful. We heard much tonight, right, Ms. Donna?
We heard a lot, and it was very impactful from what mental health means in the immigrant community, hearing and sharing stories, understanding what mental health is, and getting some clarification on mental health, where you can get mental health, why there's a stigma, and breaking those barriers, bringing the community, having these deep conversations is very important. We've heard meeting the community, meeting families where they are, having those cultural competency trainings, having information sessions, talking with our pastors, our community organizations, and how important it is to share this information.
Yes. Indeed, indeed. And so we'd like to leave hopefully to see if we want to just sort of rehash, right? That's a big word, rehash. We want to go over what we said today to see if we all can agree. And if you do not agree, you let us know. But Ms. Donna and I and Multicultural must ask your forgiveness and ask for grace. Before we begin our Palava Hut, each time we get from you a verbal consent to have the conversation and also to record it. We did not do that today. And I cannot believe, it's a cardinal rule for us. And I cannot believe that this was missed. We apologize. Well, this is the Liberian Radio and Television Network, and he said to me, I'm recording it, but I'm not showing anybody faces because of what was said here today. You can only hear the voices of people talking. And he's talking about everything that people said today. He said the sensitivity of it allowed me, made me not to show faces. Mr. Quickly, can you just say before we run from?
526 persons, so we add that to 639. That's how much people we actually into the program right now. Wow.
So people are watching 639, and that's just because I.
Every few minutes, or just a time, but it goes on everything. So people sharing it and
And confidentiality, Mr. Anderson, you said, has been maintained by showing voices.
So you see the camera sitting?
Yes.
That's what you're seeing right now. Okay. So everybody around.
And thankfully, the majority of our people were over here. Yeah. And we had some individuals here, but yes, not the.
So hopefully next time if we do come back and we're having the program, we probably can be able to take questions. People because everybody don't have the opportunity to come yet. But folks watching home and other places.
From Liberia.
Everybody got in. Everywhere. Everybody watching the program. So if they're out there, they got some concern. You know, again, you have to volunteer. You got doctors in here.
Absolutely. So this is not just educating us, informing us.
That's what we're around. We'd love to actually work with you guys to. We got advertisement and talk about location, places, services. We can run an advertisement where on the network, if you have this problem, go to this place, go to that place. So you work with Ms. Kamara, and she will be able to tell you exactly what we do.
And that's part of the role of multicultural. How do we raise awareness about mental health services? Do we agree that? And so we're going to go into our agreements, but very quickly, Dr. Moore and Dr. Abu, I want to acknowledge you again. Is there any 30-second you would like to say? Anything about tonight?
I want to say thank you to all the contributors. One thing I wanted to emphasize is that we have a mental health crisis in Palava. We don't easily go to those places. So if we can do more advocacy, more networking, and reach the population, we'll go a long way.
Thank you. And Dr. Moore is going to be with us after this ends. If anybody from our community wants to meet with him, he's making himself available. Thank you, Dr. Moore. Dr. Abu?
Yeah, so there is one thing that we need to make a commitment in this particular service delivery initiative.
Yes.
That is, to the extent possible, not to re-traumatize our people.
Yes.
Why do I say that?
That's good.
I say that from the standpoint that there are barriers in accessing mental health services, especially when you look at people who have a whole part of psychosocial issues on them. So they got something in this country they call undocumented, and things like that, and what have you. So those people, sometimes they don't even have a car. What is struggling?
Yes.
You understand? Maybe they needed food. Maybe they needed clothing. You understand? And then they show up and you say, do you have some kind of ID card? Because I got to write it down. They don't have ID card.
Absolutely.
Now they got to walk back from where they came and say, you told me to go to ABC. I went there, they said, I don't have an ID card, so I can't get it.
Right.
So that's just a basic. Sometimes they would go and they would say, oh, we don't accept your insurance.
Yes.
You understand? We only take people who got Medicare or Medicaid. You understand? We don't. So those kind of barriers, maybe not now, but as we are contemplating it and what have you, some of those things need to come down. You know, and then I heard somebody saying the wait period. There was a very wonderful young lady who agreed to access services. And then when she called, guess what? She was told she had to stay on for at least 4 months before she could be included into the program. So we look at a situation, we tend to re-traumatize the person. You understand? On top of the situation they already have.
So as a system, we need to do better.
That's correct.
And one of the things we really didn't introduce today, because this topic is so rich, is access to mental health services that can be provided by professionals within the immigrant community.
Yes.
Right? One of the things we didn't go into deeply is that outside of the shame, what other reason why you don't go to seek help? And if we were to ask that and go deeper into it, some of you would say because
I'm doing it all the time.
I'm doing it all the time, or somebody from my country that I can talk to, right? So we, as we talk about this and have them listen to us, we also want to say that we need more providers from the immigrant community that speak their language, whether it's that the Liberian English, whether that the Arabic, whether it is French, whether it is Creole, whether it is Spanish, whether it is Punjabi, Bangla, Hindi. We need providers from those communities, and it is important that the system hear us, all of you hear us, and help the community to make sure that happens. But we'll continue this conversation another time. We know it is about 8:05 and we want to end. So, Ms. Donna, how about we just go very briefly into our agreement? Can we say that today we'll talk about understanding what mental health means? Can we say that we all agree that we now know more about what mental health means or what mental health is when we think about mental health? Can we say that? Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
1 minute.
Mm-hmm.
Want to share something? As we said, people are not supposed to help the community people and stuff like that. Okay, let us talk about myself. Okay, I'm not working right now. Okay, I have surgery in my back. That's why I'm not back to work. According to the doctor, I have to have treatment every 2 weeks in the hospital, hospital. Unfortunately, they terminated my insurance. In the same time, I'm not working. The reason why they terminated because my wife works as a housekeeper, working in the hotel, and they say her income is 2,300. This is not my fault. You know what I mean? I have very important treatment in the hospital every 2 weeks. Okay, I have letter from the doctor. I have everything, and every 2 weeks I have give me injection here to protect myself from the infection in my back. You know what I mean? The problem is how to deal with me like that. You know what I mean? Really, I need health insurance to be able to finish my treatment.
Thank you, Mr. Hussein.
It is not fair to consider my wife's income. You know what I mean?
Let's talk about that more after this, okay?
Okay.
And see what is out there that we can tap into, all right?
Okay.
So thank you so much. And then just going back to the agreement, can we all say we agree that we now understand a little bit more that big word called stigma, what it means? Yes. We all agree? Yes. Okay, thank you so much. And can we say, Ms. Donna, we asked them that we agree that accessing or seeking or going to look for mental health services, that it is not just going to the pastor or going to the traditional healer, but mental health is going to a counselor. If mental health services mean counseling, right? And when we think about mental health services, it is not just counseling too, but it's also food, it's child care, it is housing. Another big way that people call it is social determinants of health. But we're not talking about that one today. We're not talking about that today. So we agree, right? So do we all agree that it is important to not keep mental health in our head, to not keep it deep inside, make it a secret, but to talk to somebody else about it? We all agree that it's important to seek help. And do we all agree that it is important to tell others in our community about mental health and to go for help too? Is that okay? Do we agree that? And do we all agree that it is important for the providers to meet us everywhere, the school, the community, the food pantry, the community organization, they should not just stay in the offices so we can go to them, right? It has to be them also coming to the community. We all agree that is so. And we all agree that, we said that we all agree that we have to work on changing mental health from being something negative. We agree that we heard a lot of negative in this space when we heard mental health, right, Ms. Donna? And we all agree that we need to change it from being something negative to positive. That it will be just like I'm going to my primary doctor when I get sick. Yes. We all agree that. And lastly, do we all agree that maybe that we should continue this conversation, that it was important to have this conversation? Absolutely. Thank you. Yes, Donna, did I leave community, did I leave any agreement out? No. Was there anything left out? Yes, Ms. Laura.
That we need to talk to people and not mental health.
Yeah. Do we all agree that we need to talk to the person and not to their mental health? Awesome. So with that, we said thank you. We love evaluation, but we'll send it to you. We're not doing it in the interest of time. We thank you. One second, Mr. George. We thank you so much for being here, for participating, for being so open. We hope you found this to be a safe place and a safe space. And we want to say thanks to the Great Radio and Television Network. We ask your forgiveness, but is it okay for us to continue to share this broadcasting out to others so that more can be informed, become aware, and get that big word is educated. Okay? Thank you all. Thank you so much, Mr. George. I just want to acknowledge that it is 8:14, so if we want to let them go, you got 30 seconds. Thank you. 30 seconds. So you go back 30 seconds, I will say.
You know, as we started with mental health, let's call the etiologies of the mental health. There are three things: accident, drug, disappointment. And you have to know two of them. They have two stages: neurotic and psychosis.
Stop.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. George. On behalf of the Multicultural Community Family Services and the Professional Development Consulting Division, led by Mrs. Donna Smith and her PDC team, we say thank you all. Thank you all so much. Thank you so much.
Attention all organizations, NGOs, and social clubs in and out of Liberia. Are you tired of relying solely on social media to run your operations? An effective web platform is your most important marketing tool, and that's where Tiamat.com comes in. Hello, my Liberian people. My name is Sophia, and I want you to consider this. 53% of consumers do online research about an organization before talking to someone from that institution. That means not having a website could be costing you opportunities. Step up your game and establish a professional online presence. Introducing our web platform, designed specifically for 501c organizations.